fans, and we are a few weeks away from the kickoff of the Casolaga Premier Soccer League, and it is getting exciting. Of course, earlier this year, the PSL announced the fixtures for the 2020 season, and every team have been on their feet preparing for the upcoming season. We have seen teams travel abroad, some locally preparing for the season that is ahead. It is exciting, specifically the occurrence of events in the last season. Of course, we saw Scotland winning the league, MWOS FC, us of course coming runner-up, and the build-up to this upcoming season is very interesting, with a lot of teams coming in hard row, a lot of news coming from their transfers and all that, and it has been buzzing. So of course, we took time to have a trip to Begbridge, where we are having our pre-season camp, preparing for the upcoming 2026 Casolaga Premier Soccer League season. Now, of course, we lost players during the transfer window. We brought in new players during the transfer window. And with the season coming up, there has been a department, specifically at MWOS FC, that had a lot of changes that were made. Of course, I'm talking about the goalkeeping department. And today I am joined by the entire goalkeeping department at MWOS FC. Now, to my right is, of course, the newly signed, and of course, a lot of buzz happening on social media. He's great player, amazing player. I cannot begin to comprehend his, of course, his CV speaks for itself. I'm talking about none other than Tejas. By Tejas, welcome to MWOS FC. How are you feeling?
I'm good.
And of course, that's Tejas by, and of course, a man who does not really need any introduction when it comes to football in Zimbabwe. I'm talking about a man who has made the name for himself. He was with Masvingo United at some point. I'm talking about Coach Chokri, MWOS FC newly assigned goalkeepers coach. Coach, did you say?
Moshe.
Moshe. And of course, moving to my left, a familiar face. He was with us last season and he continues to be with us again this season. Francis Tizai. Francis, how are you doing? Moshe, bye-bye. And of course, last but certainly not least, of course, Delron. How are you doing? Moshe, bye-bye. Now, of course, it's going to be an interesting season. A lot of questions were being asked. How are things basically on the defensive end of things? Now, let's get into it. Let's hear their thoughts as we head into the season. Club as of last season. During the entirety of last season. You know the atmosphere in Mongoni Stadium, you know the atmosphere, you know how things go, but no good and but no Zuka. Maybe can you just share us your thought on how your stay at the club has been, specifically last year, if I'm to say, how was you feeling? And of course, maybe the atmosphere in Mongoni Stadium in general.
Now, I would say the atmosphere was fantastic. It was awesome. The fans, you cannot say anything. They were just awesome in every way, even besides playing in goal. Even if you travel, you know that the 12th man is there. And talking about Ngoni Stadium, the vibe is just something else.
Well, of course, Ngoni Stadium, well known for its, the fans are always buzzing. Doran. I believe most people, maybe most people were saying you're coming from a D1 side, which pinned up the Premier Soccer League. Tizai just talked about the atmosphere in Mongoni Stadium. My fans, they're good. How are you feeling specifically with MWOS FC for the first time coming from D1, coming into the PSL?
I'm hungry. It's a big achievement from coming from Division 1 to PSL. Atmosphere, of
course, it's not easy, of course, coming into a new team or adjust. Tejas, you have made a couple of moves from different teams, Akasia and FCI. And of course, another move here coming to MWOS FC is. Can you just tell us how easy is it for you to settle coming in from another team and into another team, specifically team in MWOS FC, and my fans are buzzing and all that?
Welcome to the PO. Satisfying my fans. So it's our duty as a department with further my fans. We just see no Tamangon. I was sharing around 20% so far, probably so is my team who are passing now. This year, to find out achieve more than last year. So I'm happy.
Of course, Titus by of course expressing his joy there, of course, joining MWOS FC. You've just said it's not your first time with Ambira Mugod. You came and played against us. How did you keep a clean sheet, by the way?
I know. But I tried my best.
Of course, we know.
I tried my best.
Now, of course, with the season buzzing, Coach Shokri, you're a man with great experience. Of course, your CV in football is beyond comprehension.
Yeah.
Coming into MWOS FC, what is your main target going in? Speaking of you, this great set of players that's in our Panapa, what is your target? What exactly are you going to be focusing on in the knowledge you're going to be imparting as we head into the season?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, issue to give them confidence to play under my head crowds. Also, on my side, to continue adding on my CV, I should always produce a goalkeeper on the calendar, low target at the line.
Yeah, that's interesting. A goalkeeper on the calendar, of course, that makes sure that is the goalkeeper with the most clean sheets or the most impressive goalkeeper within the season. So we might, of course, it's football at the end of the day, but the expectation is that we may have a goalkeeper at the calendar at the end of the season. And his track record speaks for itself. There's a very good chance that it might definitely happen. Now, Delroy, switching to you, of course, Hanzina and coach, the idea for this season is to try and impart confidence. So we time in front of a big crowd. D1 from where you're playing, my crowds angry say, and what exactly are you expecting? Do you think it will easily adapt coming into the season, specifically in my PSO crowd?
Just as you bora Tembo Chuma, I'm to sangana na home crowd.
Mushtombo buiwa nini?
Chumbotukwa, chumbodi.
Now, there is a thing in African football, anonzima superstitions. I was watching an interview from Europe, Sanchez, he was saying each time I open up ground, I know bottom my goalposts, they go left and they go right, and then when the bagati, with the way my socks are Kasiana, with the way my shoelaces are Kasiana. Does any of you have any superstitions? So I'm going to come more like a matchday tradition. Maybe you would cheat. It's okay to not have it, but people differ when it comes to this thing. I just need to ask for the sake of the fans, when that one was yours already. Are there any matchday traditions? I'm not keeper, just personal.
No, to goalkeeper basic.
Ngoshinga umopeka magloves otutanga otutanga.
I think more with coach Shagawanda zvinongwaipa performance hazvinakana kuitira matakuza zvatatina ndozvatinonza game so hatifaniri kungozongoti zvatatina hatichauya kugame vanozvofunga kuti hatina zvatinazvo vanoti vanhu vachifana toona kuti hapana chikubatwa nodazei.
It's pure talent.
Training.
Of course, Coach Chokri, the aspects of the game, of course, technical-wise, of course, that you want to introduce. There's always a difference between, of course, most of your training will focus more on the goalkeepers, but there's also the defensive aspect of things, which is never defend the animal ground. I don't know. How do you think you're going to balance that? To say that you're looking at the coach, you're looking at the goalkeepers. Do you also work with the defenders to say coordinate? How cannot you strictly just take goalkeepers coach? Maybe this is just for the role of the goalkeeper. For those who would like to know specifically, where are you based exactly?
Yeah, I think that department you must not be limited. To be a goalkeeper, you need my defenders. So they will work hand in hand. My defenders, both these goalkeepers, they have to understand my defenders are not one, but the entire defense. Also, in the edge of the entire team, because sometimes our time my defenders, he talks even the top man is his duty, but mainly that can generally my defender. That's why you feel even by training we encourage them. Let's play under pressure. Because we game we give confidence in my defenders. Also in the chain my defenders, they have to give confidence to their goalkeeper. Yeah. So I think we are working hand in hand in that department.
And of course, you have worked in Francis Tizai before in earlier days. I think earlier in his career. You're now back again at MWOS FC. How's the reunion?
Yeah, I think the connection yangu na Franco, it's a long story. Franco, I started knowing him in 2007 at Oskoro. When he came in, he looked like Imuna Itamokati. He was a winger, but pari session yakangoitika kuti kana afuna kuenda pagate. From there ndakaona that this we can develop it. I'm developer from zero to a goalkeeper.
So this is your product to some extent.
I think this is my product.
Do you attest to that?
Yeah, I just-
Do what Lakatangira?
Yeah, actually.
Interesting. Joran, you are a youngster, of course. You are hearing the past thing. Enjoy it. Tizai is a well-decorated goalkeeper, by the way. And you just heard it, of course, it came from the hands of Coach Chokri. And now you're also young, and also maybe I would like to believe you aspire to streak up my level. That's gonna Tizai in 10 years. What can you say to be working under Coach Chokri?
yaindiriyepi zvangu was ndikudzidza zvakawanda every day hapana chikutsokoroka every day zvinongoya zvinyora nevakoma
Parupusha. Maybe to tap into the dynamic, I have, but by the way, I have had the privilege to see these guys train. And one of the things Shandaka noticed when you guys are training is when you are doing a drill, and either you are doing a drill, you always hear the other one saying, Famba, push at his eye, push all that. Maybe just allow us to explore that. Exactly. Is it like teamwork? It's just how you operate. I mean, maybe Tizai, maybe you can take that one.
I think, as you said, goalkeeping department is the most decorated department. For us to push him on one, anenge achitamba, tisu tinomba confidence.
Sure.
Even when we are training, the eco-generated pre-season, it will come a point where the training will be demanding. Manano gonoshka pa stage ukutana ngachinzokundaniita. But the more I inspire, the more I encourage him to know push. Anoramba pusha to the limit of which ndozvotaraving especially for this pre-season job. So that at least we grasp zvatinopiwa, so that at least hapana anoneta, hapana anosara kumashure. We have to benefit TSA.
Well, just maybe to add on what Tiza is saying. Let's say Tane na first keeper for the day, a league time.
Yes.
For these guys, very single time for that day, a reflection in it out, which affects what they will be doing. These guys, because sometimes the more that you are not a step down, the more Anenga Tamba also it comes down. But the more you are not push up training, the one Anenga Tamba on a match day also graph actually high. So that on its own.
So basically, the training morale contributed more so to the actual performance.
Yeah,
I've seen that to be true even outside football. The morale when you train and the morale you actually do, it says a lot about. Now, of course, MWOS FC is a team with a lot of pressure. Last season, second place runners up. Coming into the new season, there are a lot of expectations. Now, I wouldn't want you to make any promises, but basically to us. How do you think? I'm going to give this one to you, Tejas, specifically based on a point of experience. You've been to different clubs, and of course you've been here before. I understand you won the Eastern region with under Coach Lloyd at some point. Was it 2016? 2023, yeah. Sorry for that. In 2023, you won the league with Lloyd with us, of course. The pressure that comes with playing for a big team, you expect to come a result. Maybe I'm specifically asking this to you, and maybe Tizai if you want to chip in, because Deoron is of course a youngster, and most likely your answer may be we can influence him, of course, as he goes into the season. Yeah. Can you take us through the pressure of playing for a big team? In my expectations, because they're supposed to produce good results.
Yeah, no pressure. Pressure in football. So when I want some major pressure, I'm going to teach my work, but it's a department. The more I play clean sheet, the more I know myself. So team I number 2. So kuna food achievement number 1. So department paid number defenders, teach no push up to the more I concede, the more I know it's capable. So I think pressure, and like I say, as a department, so you need to and fungo with it. I'm not going to number 1 but but number 4, which is very so bora and go. And ne kusangana no players emkati kuirana nekuti I think hapana pressure inozoitika masupporters always anoda mazazi but mazazi tinoapa futi isusu kana kusavapa so isusu tikaita chinhu one I think pressure inogona kusaoneka but iripo.
And also I believe when there's a sense of unity pachizve muchizazo kuitika you won't go there. You won't go there.
But promise kana kuti but double figure clean sheets inotibatsira. No tingati number no but double figure clean sheets as a department ndoziva tinosvika.
I witnessed UT's last year match day 4 against FC Platinum. We were between the posts. That was a very, very intense game, and anyone could tell there was a lot of pressure there. Maybe just take us through that game and the emotions and how you pulled through, because you kept a clean sheet regardless of the pressure as on FC Platinum with that game.
Yeah, I would say.
You remember the game?
Yeah, I remember the game. We basically know kuti ndingati chinhu chakanyanya kundipusha that day was I was actually back at my once home.
Yeah, true.
You know, I stayed for a long time with FC Platinum.
Yeah.
So going back there, it was more like I was at home, I was at ease.
So that
actually helped me. I was at ease, I had no pressure. It was more like that game was, it was more like.
Of course. Interesting conversations there.
Yeah, just also maybe
yes, coach.
On what Bayo Chiza is saying. The importance of keeping a clean sheet. You are guaranteed a point or 3 points per team. So that on its own, you know that for us to miss ASMR points. So by keeping a clean sheet, you are guaranteed a point or 3 points. That's the plus. So if you can just start on that mentality throughout the season, I think he should have a plus.
Well, there you have it. This is the goalkeeping department for the 2026 Kasolaga Premier Soccer League season, and we just had to sit down with them. We're just tipping it with their brains, their careers, their thoughts as we head into the 2026 season. Now, of course, we will not be leaving you without last words from them. Gentlemen, maybe we'll start with you, Dioro, as the youngest. Maybe share your thoughts with the fans. How are you feeling ahead of the season? And maybe just say something to the fans to keep up the season at way.
Ainomazabona nomuvavembisa kuti mongozara kustadium chokupa mufaro gore rino basa chiyakanda choita zviiti
tizai
ndokwanisa kungoti with unit like as you said kuti pana vanhu vanyowani vakawandisa but havasi vanyowani kubhora.
Exactly.
Havasi vanyowani kubhora. Saka all I can say is we are going to work. We are going to work hard. We are going to push ourselves so that at least we deliver.
Yes.
Yeah, fans. Vanofana kuedzera numbers in that season more. Pasina yoga hapana isusu. So tongoti mozibora. Mozana ende kudzana isangana kungoni.
I'll end with you, of course, Coach Chukwi. Words to the fans.
Yeah, maybe I'll add Chiti, the boys, they've thrown everything. We are stadium. You spice everything. Without you, we cannot make anything. We need you as much as more numbers, the better for the team.
Well, there you have it. A plea from the goalkeeping department. More fans at the stadium. Let's fill Mozambique Stadium up as we've always done last season. TJ says double the numbers. Daron says be there. Tona Naikoko, it's gonna be fire. Tizai said let's unite. Let's all stand as one as MWOS FC and hope for a great and amazing 2026 season. Now, from me as a question, and of course the MWOS FC goalkeeping department. This has been a sit down with the MWOS FC goalkeeping department, and for me, myself, these guys, we say ciao until next time. Famba MWOS, Famba, Bonza.